I got to kick this thing off. Can I kick it off? 1, 2, 3, 4. Ladies and gentlemen, listen.
What's up, everybody? It's your boy Marv B, and you're listening to another episode of the Man Listen Show. Before we get started, let's hear a few words from our sponsors.
Title Boxing Club of Rock Hill is proud to be a sponsor of the Man Listen Show. Title Boxing Club Rock Hill offers dynamic boxing and kickboxing classes for all. Check us out on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at TBC Rock Hill.
Are you tired of expensive cable bills? Well, Magic Streams is just for you. Magic Streams is a cost-effective alternative to traditional cable, which includes over 2,500 live HD channels. With Magic Streams, you are able to watch local network TV, and you are also able to follow all of your favorite sports teams. Magic Streams lets you watch your favorite movies and TV shows on demand from anywhere. Live TV on your iPhone, iPad, Amazon tablet, or Android mobile device. We have plans that start as low as $19.99 per month. You don't want to miss it. Email us at magicstreamsmb@gmail.com for more information. That's magicstreams, magicstreamsmb@gmail.com for more information. The Man Listen Show is also brought to you by Conversate With Us Radio. Conversate With Us Radio, your urban radio show podcast. A fun place to look for advice and a different perspective on life, love, relationships, sports, and politics. One conversation at a time. You can find us on Facebook at Conversate With Us Radio and on Instagram at Conversate With Us. Don't forget to capitalize the V in Conversate. C, what's up with you?
Hey, what's good?
Everything's good. Everything's good. Lad, what's up, bro?
What's going on, my man? Chilling. How y'all doing?
Doing good, man. Doing good. Rika, how you doing?
I'm great. Glad to be here.
Good. Glad to have you. So, on today's show, we're talking about Jay-Z in the NFL. This week, it was announced that Jay-Z will be partnering with the NFL. The rap icon revealed Tuesday that his Roc Nation company will partner with the NFL on its entertainment presentations and Inspire Change initiative, which was created after an agreement with the coalition of players who demonstrated during the national anthem to protest social and racial justice in the U.S. A lot of people have a lot to say about Jay-Z partnering with the NFL, so we're going to get a word from the crew on their thoughts on this news. Were you excited about it? Are you apprehensive about it? What are your thoughts? So let's go ahead and start off with Arika. Arika, when you heard the news about Jay-Z partnering with the NFL, what were your initial thoughts?
My initial thoughts were indifference, honestly, just because I feel like too often, especially when it comes to anything that is associated with social justice reform, we jump to conclusions too soon. And so I don't know what the impact of this is going to be, whether it's good or bad. And so I feel like I'd rather wait and see the fruit of the tree before I start judging the decision to make moves. But I also understand that this is chess, not checkers. So I'm waiting to see how many moves ahead Jay-Z is playing and what all is in the works, because after doing a little bit of research, I'm kind of impressed. So,
what made you impressed? What did you find out?
The most important thing that I thought was impressive was that he's going to set up a platform for the players to voice their concerns. And what I think is that the people who are actually in the NFL and who are actually victims of the injustices of the NFL finally going to have a voice and a way to have those issues and problems addressed. And they haven't had that in the past. Usually it's kind of like, to me, the NFL and sports in general is kind of like the slave trade. These white owners are sitting out here picking out the biggest and the brightest and the fastest and, utilizing them to make a lot of money. And so now we're giving them a voice and they have an opportunity to express the concerns that they have and then have somebody actually try to implement programs or initiatives that are going to try to lessen the impact of some of that stuff. And I think that that's huge and not enough people are talking about that, in my opinion.
But my only thing that I would say against that, or that I would bring up for us to think about, they already had a player that spoke out and used his platform. They already had a player that was putting his money where his mouth was and donating to different social justice programs, and it was Colin Kaepernick. And even though he settled with the NFL, and we talked about our opinions on his settlement, he's still out of the league. He's still being whiteballed by the league. So yeah, I agree with you. It is good that Jay is giving them a platform, but let's still address the main issue that started it all. Cap using his voice, using his notoriety and his platform to speak out for something that's important to him, and he's still being penalized for that.
See, and I would argue that Cap is not what started it all, because I love Cap. I love what he did, but Cap made a unilateral decision to speak out about injustice. He wasn't the first person to experience injustice, and he won't be the last person. And I don't know when the movement became about finding this man a job. From a legal position, you cannot force teams to hire him on as a player. The NFL can't do that. So if we're trying to say that we want the NFL to force one of these teams to take him on as a player, I think that's really counterproductive, because at best, you're going to get some team to hire him on, pay him a salary, and keep him on the bench, which is disrespectful. And so if they don't want him on their team as owners, that's their position. So we got to think bigger and what's next. And I appreciate the sacrifices that Cap made. I think that he deserves a lot of respect. But I don't think that your commitment to the movement should be judged on how hard you ride for Cap, in my opinion.
Lav, what do you think, man? What do you think? What were your initial thoughts, and what do you think about what me and Enrique talked about?
I was excited about it because Jay is my guy, right? So initially I'm like, okay, there we go. Jay making moves. I honestly assumed that he had, spoke with Cap and everything like that beforehand and had discussed it. And Cap was like, okay, cool, that's good. I'm good with it. But after hearing that he had not, I guess it really doesn't matter if he spoke with Cap or not. In the end of the day, kind of like what Enrique was saying, I don't think the movement was about Colin Kaepernick playing in the NFL anymore. Now, he sacrificed his career, and sometimes when you're in the struggle for something that's larger than yourself, you do have to make a sacrifice. And he was willing to do that, and like she said, he deserves all the respect and everything like that, but I don't think you can quote-unquote hold the movement hostage because he doesn't have a job. The movement goes on. There's more people than Kaepernick that this is going to affect. And so waiting for him to get a job before we take any action, I don't think is a smart play at all.
When you say take any action, what do you mean? You mean what Jay is doing by partnering with the NFL?
No, what I'm saying, taking any action, his goal was to impact, or I'm not going to say impact, but to give social justice reform, put it on the table for the NFL to have them address it. And this is that they had the Players Coalition. When that coalition met, he had a problem with that, correct? And so he didn't see eye to eye with them. So this is round 2. They're trying to do it again. So if we're holding it hostage that what he says is the right thing to do, I don't think that's the right play. We don't have to wait for him to give a blessing on something to go ahead with it.
But here's my issue with that though, and we talked about this last year, right? We talked about should black people still be boycotting the NFL. Go back and look in the archives. We talked about it, and I think it was made pretty plain that everybody on the show, except for your boy Mark B, would be watching the NFL. And for me, the NFL is the one who created the issue because Cap decided to protest. Right? He decided to protest. He sat down during the national anthem. Then he talked to a U.S. veteran and said, "Hey, look, it'd be more respectful if you took a knee." And the NFL were the ones, the owners. They were the ones who made this an issue. If Cap had just protested and they say, hey, listen, well, Cap's protesting, that's his individual thing. We're not going to go ahead and did they fine the players? Did they, they spoke out against it? I mean, they were strongly against this man and the issue that he stood up for. And no, Cap doesn't own the movement, but I think that the fact that this man put his career on the line for us to have a voice, for this to be a bigger issue, I think that's due more respect than what folks have been giving it. And I think that the only thing that's being held hostage is people's conscience when it comes to whether I'm going to watch the NFL or not. And I think a lot of people are looking for a means, or some people are looking for a means to say, well, it's okay for me to watch the NFL even though they dogged this brother out. If we throw Jay-Z a black face on it, yeah, it's cool, right? Jay-Z got paid. For me, that don't mean nothing.
No, I agree. There is some element of that to where they're using Jay as a front man to kind of get at least a percentage of those fans or those people back. And that's part of the game, though. I mean, that's what happens when it comes to business. And so ultimately, the NFL is a business, and they're looking out for their interests. And I mean, that's what it is. It's America, man. That's everybody.
But see, I'm gonna bring you in. Yeah, it's a game, but we don't have to fall for it, though. The game means that we getting played, and
you've already fought for it, though, bro. You live in America. The whole American society is a game.
No,
the whole American society.
No,
it is.
We're talking about the NFL. Jay-Z. We're talking about Jay-Z and the NFL using him as a blackface to mollify and pacify.
Their whole league is a blackface, bro. Their whole league is a blackface. Everybody in the league that you know is black, basically.
But I don't understand why people feel like Jay-Z is being used as a pawn when we don't even know all the details of the contract. And not only that, but like Jay-Z's quote where he said the first part is where you protest. You want to bring awareness to the issue. But what's the second part? What's the next step? You bring people to the table to see what they can do to do what's next. You can't just keep punishing people until Cap get a job without doing anything. So if they say, hey, we're ready to come to the table and make some deals, then somebody needs to sit at the table and make some deals.
So why is it Jay-Z?
That was my only thing with why Jay-Z? Boycott was I didn't know the end game.
So why Jay-Z?
Why not Jay-Z?
Who else?
Why, boy? A rapper? Yeah, he's bigger than
he's
a rapper.
Not a rapper.
He's a mogul.
He's not a rapper. He has Roc Nation.
What's he known for?
He's a mogul.
Exactly. He's not that one thing. He's not simply a rapper. You look at the businesses that he's touched and influenced in the past.
You know what Jay-Z is?
By and large, successful.
You know what Jay-Z is? Jay-Z's a dope rapper. Jay-Z's a business. What do you say? I'm a businessman. I'm a businessman, not a businessman. But at the end,
I'm not a businessman. I'm a businessman.
Whatever you said, I'm a Nas fan.
Hold
on. Let me finish my thing. But at the end of the day, what Jay-Z is a capitalist, and what he did was he partnered with other capitalists. And I'm gonna give my opinion on it because I want to make sure I bring C in here.
Yeah.
But let's not make it seem as if we can't look at this with some hint of skepticism when we have capitalists partnering together to try to capitalize on us. So, let me bring you in. What are your thoughts?
So initially, I was just like, "How did Jay get here?" Just last year, he said, I said no to the Super Bowl. I don't need you. Or what did he say? Or you need me. I don't need you. And so then, like less than a year later, he's making moves with them. But I will say that like Jay-Z and Beyonce have honestly been making like strategic moves, at least for the last 10 or 15 years throughout their career. So I'm hoping something good comes out of it. Now, I'm like Lab. I'm a fan of Jay, but I think I don't know who initiated this partnership, but I think they used Jay because, he is the most influential rapper right now. And his last couple of albums have been pro-black. So it's like they're killing two birds with one stone. Could they went after Drake? Absolutely. But would they have got the same impact that they were looking for? I don't think Jay's going to, allow himself to be used, in a sense. But I definitely think the NFL, like Arika said, it's chess, not checkers. But I think that's on the NFL's part, too. But it is about time we start making moves. We can't just sit and protest and not watch games and say we're not going to buy jerseys and everything else because the NFL is employing a lot of black men. What I do hope Jay does, not just allowing the players a platform, but let's talk about why we don't have more ownership in the league that, most of us run. Like, why isn't there more coaches? Lab probably knows the answer to this, but, last I checked, I think the record number for head coaches was maybe 8. I think it was, and that's out of 32 teams. So, why are more of us, coaches and in the offices? Why aren't we presidents? Or why aren't we vice presidents for those teams? So that's where I'm just kind of hoping what's going on. But as far as players speaking out, they've been speaking out for decades. It's just what's going to happen after that. What changes Jay planning on bringing?
Personally, I took the stance that I'm going to remain neutral. Jay-Z and his wife Beyonce, they built some credibility with, putting their money where their mouth is, speaking out for criminal justice reform, helping different people, like Meek Mill, Khalif Browder, bringing attention to the Khalif Browder story. He's built some credibility with me. Like I said, I wasn't always the biggest Jay-Z fan in terms of, the material that he put out, but he has put his money in his mouth and his actions have shown that he's serious about social justice for black people. But this right here just really seems unseemly to me. It seems fishy. I don't like the fact that, at the end of the day, Jay's the one getting paid off of this. Jay's getting paid to partner to bring in entertainment. And when, like C said, this last year, we were talking about Travis Scott and Big Boy. We had a show about it, about how y'all going to sit here and perform for the NFL. And Jay-Z was one of the main people talking about that. And I read that now he's trying to spin it to say, okay, Travis Scott, you weren't the biggest rappers. You should have been the headliner, not the B-side. But that's not how he framed it when it came out. It was like, you shouldn't be partnering with the NFL. Now, all of a sudden, you're getting a check, and it's okay to be able to say that we can work with the NFL and do music for them and help them advertise. And, because hip-hop sells, and because Jay's the one doing it, it's okay. That don't really seem right to me. And I don't care if Jay-Z don't sway me. And I'm not really a big person on being swayed by celebrities. I think it's an old playbook. I think the NFL is doing exactly what the Democrats do, where they don't come with any type of substance. Let's just trot out a celebrity. Let's trot out Jay-Z, Beyonce, LeBron, have Diddy come out and dance a jig, and then black folks will vote for us. So we get Jay-Z to come out here, say, okay, it's time to move to the next step, and we're going to donate money to the players. And what is it? The Players Initiative or the Change Initiative? Something that's owned by the NFL. Now I looked to see what the Change Initiative did, and they did donate to some worthy causes, the UNCF and some other things that helped black people in the community. So I can't fault them for that, and that's the reason why I'm remaining neutral. But the more and more I look at it, the more and more I listen to the tone of Jay-Z's voice when he sat there by Roger Goodell. It sure seemed like the black face trotted out to pacify and mollify the Negroes. So y'all come on back and watch this. Because they talked about ratings being down for the last couple of years. And they try to frame it in a way to say that, well, white folks are mad about the players kneeling. No, that ain't what it was. Because if that's what it was, they wouldn't be doing what they're doing right now. They would just keep it moving. If we didn't have an impact on their ratings and their bottom line, they wouldn't be partnering with Jay-Z. We talking about rich white capitalists who are ostracizing Colin Kaepernick. If we weren't affecting them, they would not be partnering with no Jay-Z. Trust and believe that. So that's why it seems fishy to me, and that's why I'm not really moved.
Okay, but yeah, so people say, how did Jay-Z get to the table? Well, because he was vocal about not rocking with the NFL. So to me, that raised their attention to him, that he's influential in the community. But at the same time, like Lav was saying, what's the end game? Like, what's the end game of the protest? Like, what is it that we hope to have happen? like at the end of the day, are we all just protesting the NFL until Colin Kaepernick is playing for a team and making more money than whoever somebody analysis says that he should be making more money than? I mean, and I don't understand why people have to consult with him before making moves. I don't know what Jay-Z's strategy is. It's not my place to know. But coming from a legal perspective, I know that the NFL is not going to win by trying to force owners to take Kaepernick on as a player. There's only so much you can do. If I own my team, I own my business, and you come over to me and you tell me you have to hire this person, I'm going to be like, no. And you can't make me. That's the whole point of ownership. I paid to be able to do whatever it is I want to do. And if I don't want him on my team, I don't want him on my team. There's nothing that can be done about that.
Why don't they want him on the team?
Because they're racist. So we need somebody at the table
so then why
to have these conversations.
Why patronize folks that you know are racist? You answer my question. They don't want them on the team because they're racist, so why you want to give them your money?
This is my thing. So we want it to change. We want the NFL to change, but somebody's got to be in the room to point out racism, to have the conversations. It's just like how people always criticize the legal system. Well, the only way to change it is to be prosecutors, is to be judges. Prosecutors always screwing us over. The judges always screwing us over. So be a prosecutor, be a judge. But nobody wants to do that. Then you get in the room and you're hanging out with these people and you're a sellout. Well, you can't have it both ways. You can't want me to infiltrate the system and then change from within and then still be mad when I infiltrate it. You can't have it both ways.
Did he really infiltrate it or did he get paid?
We don't know. Well, because we wasn't there. We haven't seen the contract.
That's fair.
Yeah, I don't think he's doing it for money though.
Why not?
If anything, he's doing it for likeness or just like attention because he doesn't need it. He doesn't need to like sell his soul. I mean, he's a billionaire. His wife's a billionaire. He doesn't. It's not. I definitely don't think it's for money.
Let me tell you something. Billionaires like Trump, we think Trump's a billionaire, and his boys and people of his ilk. There's never enough for them. They could have $1 billion, and we could have $200 a month. All of us. They want that $200, and that's capitalism. And Jay's a capitalist.
Yeah, but see, I don't think Jay-Z's mindset is that of Trump. Trump is greedy.
Exactly. He's not Trump. He's not Steve Ross.
Jay-Z does so much for people. You know what I mean? Communities and buildings and housing projects and the education system. I haven't really followed Trump, and I'm not gonna waste my time.
I'm just talking about Trump.
Trump
and his ilk. I'm talking about the mind of a capitalist. The mind of a capitalist. When you said that, I don't think he needs the money. Capitalists, there's never enough money. There's never not enough money for them. Never. So I hope that y'all, like I said, Jay has built up enough credibility that I can remain neutral. But I'm very, very skeptical. Very, very skeptical about this whole deal. And, because honestly, and I asked Enrique the question, I wasn't trying to be confrontational. I said, why don't they want Kaepernick? And you said, because they're racist. These owners have proven that that's what they're about. And I just don't understand. For me, those morals just don't align with what I stand for. It's just like the NCAA. And I'm real hesitant to talk about the NCAA, and y'all know why. But I'm going to talk about it. And this Rich Paul rule that they came out with, right? They came out with this Rich Paul rule basically because people labeled it the Rich Paul rule, but they said that basically you can't be a certified agent if you don't have a college degree, which effectively ruled out guys like Rich Paul who were making strides with managing athletes with their business and partnering with LeBron James. Why do they do that? Because they don't want us to succeed. They don't want us to have the peace. They don't want us to be able to take over. They don't want us to have equity. That's why we don't have a lot of NFL owners. That's why we don't have any black NFL owners. That's why you have one black NBA owner, Michael Jordan, and people question his loyalty to black people all the time. So that being said, for me personally, I just can't really vibe with that, and I'm really skeptical about Jay and all the stuff that he's done so far. And how he can sit here and say, all right, well, I've spoken out about other people working with him, but now it's cool because I'm getting a check.
I just think people can grow and people can learn too, bro. I mean, at the same time, nobody's stuck in their position. It can be a year, it could take you 10 years, it could take whatever. And maybe he sat back and said, I do need to be that seat at the table. I do need to be that voice. I do need to be that go-between.
I am like really curious to see who initiated this partnership. I don't know if did they say that, in the video you watched earlier, Mar?
I would bet the NFL initiated. To be honest, I would bet they reached out to him.
Yeah. Here's my black. Jay-Z. Come watch the NFL again. See what we did?
Now come on, man. That tone you have is a little disingenuous too. You know that's ridiculous. Saying "Here's my black." Come on, man.
Right, because if they call me, I'd partner with them too. It's like I literally consider.
That's because you broke. That's because you broke. You broke like us.
I feel like
you broke like us.
We have to put people in position to make moves, and that's something that we do. We hyper attack anybody who's trying to play the game to get in position. When I was talking about running for judge. Right. When I was talking about running for judge and they told me I had to run as a Republican, what I do? Shut down all my social media, hide my real self, and I was about to Trojan horse my way right on up into that mug. And then come out black as a mug. I was something, hey!
What do you mean was? So did you change your mind?
Yes.
Oh, no.
I spent too long trying to cultivate this voice that I have to censor it now, and I would rather pour into somebody who would appreciate it and really wants that position and could really be committed to it than somebody like me who would feel like it was a duty for the people but not something that I want to do, and it would hinder me from doing other things that I want to do.
Makes sense. But I agree with you said, like, as far as like infiltrating the system, I don't want my sons to be police officers, but I said the same thing. Like, I feel like we need more young black men to actually join law enforcement and things like that. If we feel like, all of our police forces are crooked and there's that hidden racism, like, why aren't more of us applying for those jobs and actually getting into it? Again, I don't want any of my three to do it, but
So let me ask y'all this. I'm gonna assume it's safe to say that all three of y'all are watching the NFL. Is that correct?
I never stopped.
You never stopped. Okay.
You got a bunch of traitors. You got a bunch of traitors on the line.
I did stop for a while.
So for all our listeners, we'll be having interviews and auditions for new members for the Man Listen Show. Because these Negroes,
we have one opening.
These Negroes ain't gonna cut it.
No,
these Negroes ain't gonna cut it.
To be fair, I said from the beginning that I didn't feel that me boycotting would be genuine because I don't watch it. So my husband watches it religiously. If it's on, I may sit down there in the room with them, but I'm not like, oh, the game comes on at 3. So me boycotting something that I don't watch TV. So me saying, oh, I'm boycotting the NFL, to me, that's fake. And there's a lot of people on the internet like, yeah, I'm boycotting. You never watched. Shut up.
But let me ask you this. But there's a reason why I did that.
And I'll be honest with you. Last year, it did open my eyes a little bit. And I did contemplate it for a minute. And I got rid of literally all of my favorite teams' gear. Like, I don't have a single shirt or anything for my favorite team anymore. And that's a little beyond the Kaepernick thing. It's more of a personal issue with they did just a couple cats on the squad that I like, and it had hints of the Kaepernick type of thing. But I was really conflicted last year. I didn't go to any games as I typically do. Threw away all my merchandise, seriously. But I still watch some.
So we joked about it because I knew where y'all stand and y'all know where I stand, and I didn't bring that up to have y'all justify your stance because honestly, I'm to the point where I think like people are going to do what they want to do, and there are folks who are going to watch, and there are folks like me who aren't going to watch, and that line has been drawn, and we are where we are. But I got a problem with, and this is the time where I want to cuss on the show, but I'm not going to do it. But I got a problem with folks who seems like they have so much vitriol for folks like me, who said, you know what, I can't rock with the NFL, just because of how they did Kaepernick and how their beliefs just don't align with mine. And my question to them is this. What do you get out of it? What do you get out of trying to belittle and badger someone who says, I'm not watching the NFL? Have y'all seen that? And what are your thoughts on that situation right there?
I think people sometimes, when you sit back and think about it, like if you quit watching the NFL, there's a large part of your social life and things like that in the fall for a lot of people that it surrounds football, the NFL particularly. And, you're almost like disrupting their comfort level or their comfort zone. They're used to being able to talk to you at work or something about the game, or they used to be able to call you up and be like, man, did you see that game? And then when you're like, nah, man, I don't want to hear that, or I didn't watch that, then it kind of puts them in a position where they have to, every week, honestly, they have to reevaluate, am I doing the right thing? Or maybe they're not comfortable in their own decision that they've made. And they're just thinking, man, should I really be watching? And it just puts them in an uncomfortable spot. That's the only thing I could think of.
So for me, I think that we are so critical of each other, period. So as a Black community, anytime somebody does something that's contrary to what you feel like is right, we just feel like we have to jump all over people. It's like agree to disagree is not an option for us. It's not. So like on the show, it's like, okay, so you're not watching and I am watching. I don't hate you. I'm not mad at you because you've made that decision or you've chosen to do what's best for you and your belief system. But for some reason, people jump on the internet and they get super bad and super big. The same people that, wouldn't bust a grape in a fruit fight, all of a sudden got all the words for people who are doing whatever it is they feel is right. And my thing is if it makes you happy, if it makes you a better person, or if you really believe that you're doing the right thing, I support you in that. I don't have to support you with my actions. I can do the same thing in my household for my family. But it's like, that's not acceptable anymore. Now it's so easy to be at odds with people, and it's so easy to be critical and to criticize and to judge and to try to force people to do what it is that you think is the right thing, that we don't take the time to have compassion for people doing what's best for them. And I think that's something that we definitely have to work on as a people, really.
Well, I appreciate you saying that you don't hate me for my stance for the NFL, but boycotting the NFL, but I'm firing all you Negroes after this show. So I just want you to know.
I'm boycotting the show.
Jay better pick up my movement, boy.
You gonna boycott?
But
go ahead.
I need to go from me.
Go ahead, C.
Oh, my opinion on people boycotting the NFL, like what you have to remember is they didn't, they did like they whiteballed or, whatever term you used earlier, Kaepernick. But how many, Black people do the NFL employ? Like, what about all those jobs? Like, I have a friend that works in the office, for the Kansas City Chiefs. All these other players, all these other coaches, the same way with Starbucks. Like, we were like, okay, they didn't let the brother sit down, so we're going to boycott all Starbucks. What about the sister in the other city who is the owner of that Starbucks on her block that employs lots of Black people? Now, as far as the Asian local hair stores where they're putting their hands on Black women, they're not employing any of us, they're not spending $1 in our communities. Yeah, I'm going to look at those women differently if I drive past that store and I see somebody going in there and patronizing them. But as far as like the companies like the NFL and companies like that are just too big. Like, we can't stop supporting people and then, put other people in harm's way.
That's what I was getting at earlier when I was talking about America in general, man. Racism is so intertwined in every aspect, every business in the U.S. for the most part, especially big business, that it would, I don't know how you could actually divest yourself or remove yourself from that, from dealing business with a person or a company that's done something racist. I really don't.
But I say you have to pick and choose your battles, because at the end of the day, if I try to fight every single war that posts up on Facebook, I'm going to be ineffective and useless in every single one of those battles. But if I really go hard against something that I believe in, then I'm going to be influential and I can make a difference. and people are spreading themselves too thin, trying to do everything, and you really can't. Like, I had to really tell myself that, like, I can't be judge, jury, and executioner. I got to pick a side. I got to pick a struggle. How am I going to be most helpful in my community? What can I do? And I need to pick a path and stick to it and make it happen.
I'm to the point where I'm not really trying to recruit people to believe like I believe. You know, I'm focusing on those who vibe like me. That's why I got y'all on this show. We differ when it comes to the NFL. You know, 98% of everything else, you know, give or take, we agree upon. But I'm not trying to persuade anybody to my side. I'm rocking with my crew. I'm rocking with those who ride with me. We're gonna build that critical mass and do what we got to do. But I just can't. I can't tolerate anymore dealing with Negroes who probably, if they was on the plantation, would whip their own ass if Master told them to, and deal with that nonsense. So my question to you: whenever you see somebody that's speaking out against black people standing up for the right thing, protesting Starbucks, or they're like, why are you protesting Target? Remember, we was protesting Target at one point. Why are you protesting Starbucks? And you got so much vitriol for people trying to stand up and do the right thing, but you don't have that same energy for the people who actually have done something wrong or slighted black people. My question for you is, what do you get out of it? Y'all got anything else y'all want to say about this?
We also disagree on pumpkin pie. We disagree on pumpkin pie.
When he said 98%,
and mayonnaise too.
That might be 2%. Yeah, I was thinking when he said 98, I'm like, no, bro. You eat pumpkin pie. We don't know about 98.
Hey, it's coming though. Hey, pumpkin season is coming. Now winter is coming.
Do you watch Charlie Brown's The Great Pumpkin? Ain't that what it's called? The Great Pumpkin?
The Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown. Yeah.
Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown.
Yeah, so yeah.
That's your movie? That's your jam? You be like, yes, pumpkin season.
Mark can't wait for Labor Day. Boy.
Man,
Mark was that brother on the other side of the table with Snoopy.
Man, listen.
He told us, listen, I'm going to buy, but I'm going to eat this pumpkin pie.
Right.
Man, listen.
Be like, listen, my only thing is that I feel like you said, I'm not trying to convince anybody to come my way. It's not like I'm not out here trying to convince Christians to become witches overnight. But I just feel like respect for other people's decisions will go a long way in having better conversations. I think we could have better conversations if we respected people's decisions to not want to do what it is we want to do more. And it's like, for some reason, we've lost that. And I venture to say that reason is the internet. Because if I was standing face to face with you having a conversation, we were disagreeing, I'd be very respectful because you're bigger than me. I'm not trying to piss you off. We lose that. In the neighborhood, when you had arguments, you wasn't about to just talk crazy to somebody because you knew if it went too far left, they would put their hands on you.
Yeah. Cats,
get it together. Now on the internet, all these
reckless.
little skinny people, all big and bad.
Oh, they real reckless. They're very reckless on social media. I do think that we have to find a way to come up with a code, and this is something we could talk about at another juncture. But we do need to find a way to come up with a code and an agreement of how we're going to handle things that affect our community. Because I'll be straight up and down honest with you. If Colin Kaepernick was Colin Lieberman or Pennerstein, and the Jewish folks felt that he was being slighted by the NFL, it would have been shut down. And you would not have seen one Jewish person talking about, oh, well, is it just about him getting a job? We got to do X, Y, and Z. No, they would have came all on one accord, and it would have happened. And Colin Lieberman or Pennerstein would have a job, and it would be taken care of. So we got to really look into our soul and figure out what is so different about other people. What is different about other people, and why are they able to take care of their own and get something that they want accomplished done, and we can't? Why are we so fractured? So
are you saying that we need? Are you saying we need blind allegiance to whoever decides to make a move? Because I don't even know Cap as a person. He could be a whole jerk. But the thing is, I'm not necessarily willing to pledge my allegiance to somebody I don't know. I think he did a great thing.
I mean, but
and I stand on that.
Goddamn right.
But that's about as far as I'm willing to go.
Goddamn right, he could be a jerk. I'm all the way down for black people, and you surveyed 50 people that know me, probably about 38 of them be like, man, Marv is a jerk. Bobby Seale, the founder of the Black Panthers, he came to Mizzou.
Hold on, 38? Just 38?
Hey, that was a little low.
Yeah, probably 45. And Bobby Seale came to Mizzou, right? I was all hype. I said, look, this is one of the founders of the Black Panther Party. Man, he was a monumental asshole. For real. So yeah, I mean, you ain't gotta like it, but we do have to have some sort of code that we're gonna abide by. That's why we're so fractured. That's why we got here. They were so fractured in Africa. We was selling each other off, and now we here. So yeah, I do think we need to go. We do need to get to that level. Absolutely.
Wait, we blaming Africa now for our fracture over here.
Yeah. No, we was getting kidnapped with guns.
Yeah.
No,
there were some people in Africa who sold slaves, but they didn't know. They thought it was going to be like how it was in Africa. They had no idea of what the white slave owners were capable of. They couldn't even comprehend that type of evil. So I think it's unfair to say that this type of fracture is associated with anything that we've done.
The tribalism goes way back to Africa. That's why we split like we are now. Absolutely. And word did get back to them. Them sellouts knew.
Yeah, they were.
Them sellouts knew that they were sending us over here.
There was a lot of people being kidnapped with guns.
Yeah, but them sellouts knew that they were selling us to somebody that wasn't them. So yeah.
Well, you got to look at Africa as a continent, and it's huge. So if they don't group all Europeans in the same, tribe or group or whatever they called them back then, cave people, mountain dwellers, I don't know what it was. No. How can you say that all Africans were the same people?
They weren't.
Take all the continents. 23 and me. Man, I'm from in Africa.
My uncle did that, but my thing is, if all the continents can fit into Africa, I'm not giving them my blood, but all the continents can fit into Africa because Africa is that huge. You can't expect them to be on one accord. That is the hugest continent ever. And then we expect all of those people to be on the same page. It's impossible. And then to hold them to this impossible standard is like ridiculous. Like,
you're right.
Some of those people, we all got a clown in our family. So I mean, how we expect the whole tribe not to have a clown?
But you're right. Africa is a huge country, and most Africans don't get along. You got
continent.
You got right, continent. My bad. I'm glad you clarified because that would have bothered me listening on the playback. You got Ethiopians beefing with Eritreans. You got South Sudan versus the Sudan, and it's a continent full of different countries, right? They've been fractured. They've been fractured for years. They've been invaded by the Asians and the Caucasians, and it's been down like that. So they don't have to assume that this one big continent has something that ties them. There's a bond that ties them. I think you're right, Erika. That's unfair. But for us over here, ADOS, we do have something that binds us. And so what's our issue?
Are you saying that our pain and our struggle is the only thing that binds us? Slavery is the only thing that binds us to each other?
Absolutely. Why doesn't it? Slavery and Jim Crow, everything that happens to us, it affects us all every day. Even though we may have some that have reached a new level and travel to Martha's Vineyard and eat Talenti ice cream, we still getting our behind kicked. And we talking about we gonna be fractured, man, please. But anyway, man, I can argue with y'all all night. I love y'all, but we want to thank everybody for listening to the show. Make sure you check us out on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, @ManListenShow. You can listen to the show. See over there laughing. You can listen to the show on iTunes, SoundCloud, Google Play, and YouTube. Well, I'll let you next time. Peace.
You hating on Jay? We ain't
at
on
the end.